Welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. We believe life is about how we react. Welcome to the podcast, Sean. I want to jump right into something that's important to me. So just bear with me for a few minutes.
Let's do it.
I had a bunch of upgrades done to my condo again. I talked about the upgrades that I had about a year ago. And then this time I had a project through the Pennsylvania Department of Vocational Rehabilitation. It's quite a mouthful. We put in a roll-in shower and we put in an island in my kitchen.
Nice.
And then we redid the doors on two of the closets in my place, which makes it sound like a big place. It's 750 square feet, so really we did most of the rooms and all of the closets.
The two doors were the only two doors in the house. Yeah, I'm with you.
First of all, this was a project through the state, like I just said, and they really helped me out, and they basically provided the contractor. It was an open bid, but the rules for selecting a contractor through the state is the lowest bid. And as you might imagine, that's probably not the best way to choose a good contractor, right? The other thing was they did all the work while I was gone. Like, I wasn't even here when they did it because I was gone on my bike trip. So that was sort of convenient in a way, but then I got back and there was all this stuff. So they didn't even know what the right height was for an ADA light switch. It's got to be, I think the highest is whatever it is, 48 inches. They had it at 51. Well, okay, not a big deal, right? But they had never done a ADA low threshold for a front door. The regular threshold, I can't get over it in my wheelchair.
Right.
The point of this was to put in a lowered one. They didn't know what that was, so they just put in the regular one. I had to have them redo it. They did a bunch of baseboards, and the baseboards did not look good at all. Like, they looked like my 12-year-old niece was in here just like slapping these baseboards on.
And that should be a compliment to your niece, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They didn't communicate the changes that they had to make. So, we worked on these plans and we had an architect and they did a few things that were different. Obviously, there has to be changes. Always. But I feel like the standard is communicating that to the client, right?
Yeah.
And so I got home and there was all this stuff that was done incorrectly. I had them come back out twice.
Jeez.
To fix some of this stuff. And still, the baseboards and just the little details and stuff, the painting and stuff it's not done the way that, like, my contractors did a year ago. And so it's a little bit annoying.
Yep.
At some point, I just had to be like, you know what? It's fine.
Stop coming. Man, that's no fun. And for somebody who notices the details, I can appreciate your frustration. The details matter to me. And I imagine if I were in your shoes, I'd be so irritated. But, as a nod to a friend of ours who listens, Katie Lloyd,
yeah,
at least you have a house.
Oh my God! Oh, that makes me feel so much better.
Yeah, right.
Sean. Thank you.
It's all fixed. It's fine. No, for real though, I'm sorry. That's frustrating. Thankfully, I guess you're not paying out of pocket for it, but still, like, how do you get the resolve? Like, do you complain to the state, and do they say, "Oh, well, send a new contractor," or is it really just a matter of you get what you pay for? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
is there?
I mean,
resolve?
the thing is, everything is functional. So it's not like I can't do things that we were hoping I'd be able to. It's just that, like, I look at the baseboards, for example, and I'm like, oh, they screwed that up right there. Or, oh, they didn't do it right, so they decided to just fill it with white caulk. Like,
lame.
you know, just like shortcuts everywhere. And so...
Yeah.
Anyway, I do have a rolling shower, though.
Nice.
And it's really awesome.
Nice.
So,
yeah, it's going to feel good. I'm happy for you in that, for sure. It's not only feel good, but it saves so much energy and time.
Yeah.
Like, I just have a tiny glimpse of what maybe somebody in your position of having to embrace yourself to stand and lean over the bathtub or, step in. Like, all that stuff is just, a rolling shower is so much more liberating. So happy for you on that front.
Yeah, no, and it makes me feel so much better because, like, I don't necessarily need it right now.
Sure.
I can still step into a tub, but the day is coming.
Yep.
And I want to make sure that rolling shower is there when I need it.
I'm with you. Good call.
Sean, today our conversation is with a dear friend of ours. She's an amazing writer, and she raises a lot of money for Ataxia every year, contributing to the cause. I think our listeners are really going to like this one. Here's our conversation with Kendall Harvey. You might remember Kendall Harvey because we used her column before. She wrote about writing a letter to your newly diagnosed self. And Sean and I used that prompt as the basis of episode 157. So maybe go check that out if you enjoyed this. And I'm sure you're going to. Kendall Harvey, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Kendall, you live in Texas.
I do. I live in the wonderful city of Austin, Texas.
Is it pretty weird there, or?
Yeah, it's definitely weird. I grew up in Houston, so it's completely opposite and definitely sticks with the logo of Keep Austin Weird. Yeah. But it's weird in all the best ways.
What makes it weird?
It's just a quirky town. I mean, we're technically a college town, but I mean, we're the number 5 or 6 biggest city in the U.S. So I feel like we're, not to sound super Southern, but we're a little big for our britches.
Isn't Austin also up there with, like, the best city to move to or raise a family in or something?
We were, like, the number 1 growing city in a while, and thank goodness we finally are no longer number 1 because we're big enough. We don't need any more people. So
well, and I think people stop moving there because it's too expensive to move there, right?
Well, because like just about everyone moving to Austin is from California, which is already ridiculously overpriced. So I feel like they brought their pricing structure with them to Austin, and we don't want it.
Kendall, you are a mother and a wife.
In case you forgot that, Kyle's just reminding you.
Yeah, just in case I forgot for a minute. Yep. I got married to my high school sweetheart back in 2009. Started showing FA symptoms early 2013. Got diagnosed in August of 2013 after lots of meetings with different doctors and testing Kyle, my husband Kyle, not you, Kyle. And he is not a carrier of the FA gene mutation. We decided to go ahead and try for kids. And 1 month later, we got pregnant with my son, Brooks, who is now about to be 8 this month. And then we have the perfect exclamation point to our family, our daughter, who is 5.
You have this disease called Friedreich's ataxia. You write an amazing column that many, many people can relate to. I hear it quoted in the FA community quite often. Tell us how you got started with this column.
Well, I just kind of decided early on that I wasn't content to take FA and its presence in my life silently. So I shared pretty publicly and pretty vulnerably just through my own social media channels and Facebook and Instagram mostly. And I got approached by Friedreich's Ataxia News.com to start writing a column, and that was in 2018. And I've pretty much been writing one a week since then.
Jeez.
Wow.
How do you stay disciplined? Once a week? I remember those days, and I did it. But now I'm, people know I write for the same, but I'm every other week, sometimes, basically twice a month.
Yeah.
And even that can be daunting sometimes. Like, I can't imagine going back to once a week. If they asked me, I wouldn't do it. I don't think I'd be able to.
As you guys know, that life with this disease, there's no shortage of emotional turmoil, and I mean, it just affects every single aspect of life. So I have no shortage of thoughts and feelings about FA. Writing has always been a passion of mine. I went to college for public relations, and so storytelling is one of my passions, and writing my experiences down is really a free form of therapy. It helps me process everything, and I like being able to go and look back at columns from 1, 2, 3 years ago and see how my journey has been.
Do you have a job, a day job? Are you a stay-at-home mom with the 2 kiddos? What keeps Kindle busy beyond writing?
I am a stay-at-home mom, and I do my column, and then I also work for a mom ministry through my church called Fearless Mom. And I help out with their blog and their social media. And my daughter just started kindergarten, so now both my kids are in elementary school all day, every weekday, and I'm super bored. So I'm applying to start being a substitute. So
Nice.
We'll see how being Mrs. Harvey goes.
There's a podcast that could always use a little bit of help on the storytelling social side. So
There you go.
I'll throw your name out there.
Okay.
Kendall, I read your column a few weeks ago, and I talked about it with Sean, and he's like, well, we should have her on to talk about this. It's called FA Progression No Longer Has Total Control Over My Life. Can you tell us in your own words what that's all about?
When I write, I look for unhealthy patterns in my life or kind of ruts I get into, and then I work through them in my columns. And I noticed particularly that I was in a really kind of a grumpy phase of life. And there were so many back to school events for my kids and meet the teacher and all these things. And I was just in a really grumpy headspace because FA was just really front of mind. There wasn't anything in particular going on, no big transition from a walker to a wheelchair, no injuries, nothing huge going on really, but just FA was, I couldn't get it off my mind. And at all of these events that were so not about me and not about FA, all I could think about was pouting about FA. I found myself wishing, I just wish I could pause FA for just like a month and just live life like a normal. I mean, normal is relative. I know nobody's normal. We're all pretty screwed up here. But as a non-FA healthy person, I just started thinking how desperately I've wanted to push pause so many times in my life that on the reverse, FA pauses my life when I'm in those spirals. Writing about it helped me kind of spot that pattern in my life and basically hold me accountable so that hopefully I'll stop pausing my life for FA, because FA certainly doesn't pause for my life. So it's just kind of a way of taking back power from FA.
With that concept, can you give us a specific example of a concession that you've had to make in your life because of FA?
Oh man, the list is pretty endless. The biggest one that is always just in my face and inescapable is that I can't be the mom I always wanted to be. And I mean, before FA, I was super active. I was a cheerleader, volleyball player. I did track. I did competitive swimming. I mean, you name it, I did it. I was super active, super athletic, super competitive. The season when I got diagnosed with FA, what drew my attention to this isn't normal was I was playing in kind of a beer league, sand volleyball league with my husband, and I kept falling. Before FA, when I thought about my future, I pictured myself running around, like playing baseball in the backyard with my kids, or wowing them by doing back tucks on the trampoline and all the things that I could do before FA took that away from me. I mean, it sounds so trivial because, I mean, in reality, how many moms really are out there doing back tucks for their for their kids? So I mean, in the big scheme of things, it hasn't really ruined my life, but it just made enough of an impact that it changed who I thought I would be as a mom.
A lot of what you talk about is that conflict, that it kind of feels like conflict sometimes between really wanting a cure and then having life today.
When I was first diagnosed, I was 24. I mean, at that age, in your early to mid 20s, I feel like everyone feels pretty invincible. Especially someone who had no knowledge of or no history of something as big as FA. So when I was diagnosed, I kind of carried that invincibility, God complex into FA with me. And just kind of thought, this sucks, and I'm gonna do what I can to help cure this thing so we can all move on. Super naively thought, like, we're gonna cure this before it has any effect on my life. So I didn't really form any healthy patterns, healthy thought processes to kind of digest everything that was happening to me and happening to my body and happening to the friends I made through the FA community. It was naive, but as I know more and I've participated in research studies and fundraising and clinical trials and everything, I don't want to say that I've given up on waiting for a cure, because I firmly believe with everything inside of me that we will find a cure, and I'm fairly certain that it will happen in my lifetime. So I'm gonna keep doing everything I can to help facilitate that. I'll keep fundraising, I'll keep writing my column and raising awareness, and I'll keep participating in trials and studies and whatever. FA will keep being one of my hats that I wear, one of my jobs. But I'm not going to stop living my life and stop pursuing my future that I want, waiting for that to happen.
Yeah, I think it speaks a lot to acceptance.
Yeah.
When we're like, all right, I've got FA. I should probably live my life as if FA were going to be here forever. But at the same time, I want a cure so bad. One of the parts of your column really stuck out to me, and I've read it so many times. It's when I was diagnosed, I often caught myself thinking that progression didn't really bother me because I was so sure that a cure would be found before FA disrupted my life in a significant way, which is what you just said.
Yeah.
And then the next part, it says, was that naive? Probably. Was it counterproductive? Not necessarily. Did it help me practice coping with what my future held? Definitely not. Am I still hoping for a cure in my lifetime? Absolutely. And the part that really struck me was it counterproductive? Because in my mind, as I was thinking of it, as a person who has been dealing with the FA for 23 years, I was like, why was I so dumb like back then? Why did I hold so tightly to a cure? And you said, was it counterproductive? Not necessarily. Because it's so important. That piece of it is so important to hold on tightly to the thing we want, which is a cure.
Yes.
And then also at the same time, to hold on tightly to acceptance. I have FA, I have today, and I have to live with it. And holding those two things at the same time, I think, is a big challenge.
It is. It is. I feel like when you're holding on so tightly and just, it's hard to move forward with the thing that I think everyone needs to truly hold on tightly to, which is your future. If FA is part of that future, okay. If a cure is part of that future, okay. But the future, regardless of if a cure is coming in 5 minutes, 5 months, 5 years, 5 decades, the future is for sure. And your life, the choices that you make right now, the actions that you take right now are for sure happening. So I feel like that needs to be prioritized and held on to and protected and cherished more than this abstract hope for a cure that we all desperately want to happen, but who knows if and when. And that's kind of what the whole counterproductive comment, like I don't feel like the times when I've just broken down and just bawled, when is this cure coming, versus just throwing FA caution to the wind and just moving on with life. I feel like both of those are important. I feel like they're both necessary in this journey through FA. So I don't feel like holding on to a cure or holding on to the future is one or the other. And that's why in the column I get to, I'm holding on to the hope of a cure with a loose grip. Like, yes, I want that cure, but I'm not white knuckling my way through life until I get there.
You know, something that's sticking out to me lately, I've been a little bit lackadaisical in my diet and the gym, and something that's playing in my head quite a bit lately is the line, "You only have right now."
Yeah.
I mean, that's all we're guaranteed, right? So although I hope to lose weight or gain weight or, whatever the dream might be, the choices and decisions you make right now are the only thing that's either going to help you get there or help you avoid that thing. So I love hearing you talk about it because it just reminds me and, of course, encourages me to make decisions based on what I have available to me right now while keeping my future in mind and what I hope that future looks like, whether it's related to disease or not. Really doesn't matter. The actions I take now will help determine who and what I can do and who I am down the road.
Right.
Kendall, We really appreciate you coming on the podcast today and sharing your perspective. And we appreciate you sharing your perspective every single week through your column on fanews.com. We will provide a link in the show notes for everyone to check out your column. In the meantime, Ataxia Dallas is coming up on November 5th. Can you tell us a little bit about Team Kendall?
This will be Team Kendall's 9th ride. And I mean, not to humble brag here, but we've been the number one fundraising team in our 9 years. So we're hoping for, I guess, a 9-peat. So we are excited. We're a small team, but a mighty team. And we will be there with bells on, ready to cheer on the FA community and do our part to hopefully get that cure that we've been talking about this whole podcast.
I gotta say, Kendall, as somebody in the FA community, thank you for all the fundraising you and your friends and family do. A lot of people know how research and organizations work, and some of that work you're putting into it helps make it possible for me to participate in clinical trials, or, gives me resources for figuring out how to live life with FA. That's true for so many of our listeners. So even though I'm not connected to the bride or Farah, really, in a sense, we all get the benefit of every dollar raised. So I'm glad Team Kendall is on top of that effort.
Thanks for saying that.
And there's no need for you to be humble about that accomplishment. I think you can brag all you want.
Yeah. There you go.
Kendall, thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Thank you.
What a great perspective, putting words to the things that all of us experience all the time. It's wonderful to be able to read Kendall's columns and truly relate to all the stuff that she's talking about. She has an amazing way of putting all these complex thoughts into words. I really love it.
I appreciated hearing her talk about how she decided to share so openly and vulnerably from the beginning. And I think that helps add a lot of value and depth to what she can offer her friends and family and random strangers who happen to stumble upon her work.
All right, Sean, let's move on to the power of gratitude. Who do you have to thank today?
I'm giving a thanks to Facebook Marketplace. I know everybody's got different opinions on corporate America and how big Facebook is and all those different things, but one benefit I have experienced over the last few years is their marketplace platform and the ability to buy and sell easily and to find all kinds of stuff you might need. We used it for work, found some things that we could have used for free just as props, no charge. We just have to go pick it up. And then, of course, my mom cleaning out her place and getting rid of a few things. It's been easy to sell on there and put away a little bit of pocket change. So I like that platform, and I'm saying thank you to the brains behind Facebook Marketplace.
I appreciate that thank you, because I just sold my kitchen table. I need a new one. I sold it yesterday. Nice. On Facebook Marketplace.
Well, you can probably find a new one on the Marketplace. If you want.
There you go. My thank you note goes out to Boots. I don't even know his last name. I forget how we even met him, but he comes out to Ataxia, Philadelphia every year. He brings this painting wall. He puts it up on a little stand. And it's this huge painting wall that's probably 25 feet long. and let's say 6 feet high, and he has paint on the table, and you just go there and you can paint whatever you want on the wall at the ride. So people write QFA, and they draw their company logo, they draw a picture of a little bike rider, and it's this mural created by the community on the day. And so I'm saying thank you to Boots for bringing that out and just being an incredible positive force for the ride every year. Thank you, Boots. Nice. And thank you to Kendall for sharing her perspective today through her column. Check out our show notes for links to all of her stuff. Share this episode if you like what you hear, and subscribe on all your podcast platforms. Until next time, keep living with urgency. Thank you for listening to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. This show is possible with your support. Visit twodisableddudes.com to donate.
Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app.